Alright guys, we are going to join the show already in progress. Basically, I'm having some issues with the Blazer where I kept hearing squeaking. Just an intermittent squeaking noise coming from my accessories. And I had tracked it down to the tensioner. And what was weird, or what made me believe it was the tensioner causing it to squeak, because it wasn't sitting there and excessively bouncing. Sometimes you'll see your tensioner pulley bounce when the tensioner goes bad, but what I was seeing was, if you look at these are the lines on a factory tensioner that'll tell you when your belt gets to this line, they recommend replacing it because it's stretched all the way to here. Well, when you put a brand new belt on, this yellow line and that line would line up, or you would be between these two lines with a brand new belt. And then when you get to here, that third line, you would know that your belt is old and stretched and they recommend replacing it. Well, what would happen was, every once in a while I'd come out to check it. Sometimes it'd be lined up yellow to yellow. Sometimes it would be yellow, you know, maybe a third of the way past the yellow. Sometimes it'd be on this side of the yellow. This indicator line just kept changing day to day. And then I got to where I'd push on it as best I could while it was running, and it seemed to affect the squeaking noise. So, although this pulley was new and replaced, the actual, I'm assuming the 19-year-old, you know, spring assembly in here must have get fatigued and gone bad or whatever. So I got online at Advanced Auto Parts, 25% off discount code. So I just went ahead and bought the whole new replacement assembly, which is held on with 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3. You have 2 long and 1 short. All right, guys. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the truck assembly or the tensioner assembly, but it basically just bolts between these 3 bosses. 1, 2, 3, and you got 2 long and 1 short. Basically, all I did was put my 2 long bolts up top and the short bolt at the bottom. It'll be self-explanatory, because when you fit the tensioner assembly to your truck water pump, you're going to have these longer bosses that have to reach these lugs or these ears. Then you'll have a short, flatter one at the bottom that takes your short bolt. You snug them up, and again, don't go, you know, full crazy on them, because you are going into aluminum, but just, you know, maybe 1 or 2 ugga-duggas, and just make sure it's good and tight without stripping it. And with the new assembly, there was absolutely no interference issues at all between the pulley and my socket to any of the bolts. Maybe that's an indicator of the, you know, how worn out that other one is. I'm not sure. So now I just need to put the belt back on, because here's the thing: you got to hold it up enough to get your tool on. It's only a little bit frustrating. And yes, this belt is pretty short. Like, there's just enough room to try to get the socket on the pulley to try to take the tension off, which is hard to do with one hand because this thing keeps flipping on me. It's a little bit frustrating. Part of the stuff we live with. Okay, once I get it on there, I think I'm on. Am I on? There we go. I should be able to win this battle. See, it just barely fits. Now we make sure we're lined up on all our teethers and grooves, top and bottom. Is that how that thing goes? Like we're a little off. That sucker's tight right there, Bubba. That thing ain't messing around. I think we're good. She's back on. And you couldn't run any shorter of a belt. So I don't have to worry about it being too loose. I just have to worry about it being too tight, I guess. This aftermarket tensioner doesn't have the same line configuration as the OEM tensioner, but if you look, there's lugs. There's a lug here and a lug here, and based on what I seen on that other factory tensioner assembly, when this lug lines up over here, that'd be a clear, you know, if this lug gets all the way over to this one, that's a lot of stretch in a belt. You probably want to consider go ahead and replacing it. You know, that's up to you, because, you know, these belts can last forever, or they can leave you stranded on the side of the highway. And that's always a bad day. But it looks to me like all my pulleys are lining up and the new assembly's on there. So now we're gonna have to find the key and find out if it helped or not.